Three, two, one. Hello everybody and welcome to our Brabantse Pijl preview. I'm your host Jesper Anker and I'm joined by expert analyst David Hunter. How are you?
Loving the role as the expert.
See, I've actually prepared a special guest for this preview because next three previews we're going to have guests on. So if my cat is still awake, it's actually the first preview that my cat is in the room. So this preview, got my cat Spunky here. Next preview, we're going to have Reinald Guinit, who's a Welsh. No, it's not. Oh wait, no, it's
Oliver
Mason. Sorry, Amstel Go Race. I have to figure out which races are where because I don't really watch the Ardennes because for me they're pretty boring, but I know you like them. So Amstel Gold Race is with Oliver Nason of I Am Cycling. You guys have met him before. Then after that, of course, and he posted a Strava ride of Paris-Roubaix. So if you're a big nerd fan of statistics of cycling, go watch that. Also, next up, that is La Flèche, right?
Yep.
That is with Reinald Guinit, who is a Welsh cycling commentator. He'll be on here. And then for the final Ardennes, which is Liège-Bastogne-Liège, we have a good journalist from Cycling Tips. I won't give out the name just yet, but he'll be on here for that. But the Brabantse Pijl, it's a transition race from the cobblestones over to the Ardennes because it features both the climbs and some of the cobbles. Talk about what happened last year, David.
Last year was typical race here. It's an underrated race because it comes in between Roubaix and Amstel. Of the four Ardennes races, arguably it's the best. It has a fantastic parkour. It doesn't attract the top riders usually because some of them like to have a rest before going on to Amstel Gold. It attracts a good field. It rewards attacking riding, and we get into a lap circuit. It's 205.3 kilometres in total, 26 climbs, 15 of the climbs come in the lap circuit, and the lap circuit is just crazy. The climbs are not long, they're not super difficult, but the repetition of it, and we've got short downhill sections that are really fast. We have some tight corners. We're in a residential area, and it's just all guns blazing. So last year was no exception. Hermans and Tanner went off the front with about 25k to go. It was a good attack. At that point, I don't think anybody thought the attack would stay away. It did. Behind, it was chaos. Every kilometre, there was a new attack. There was a new 2-man group, 6-man group, 8-man group. Virtually every single rider in the peloton attacked, and they couldn't get back the two in front. Hermans eventually attacked on a flat road, very slight uphill, and dropped Tanner. BMC seemed to be attacking their own rider, weirdly, from behind. Throughout the final 20k, there was numerous attempts by BMC riders to get off the front, which was weird. Gilbert continued to, I don't know if he was teasing the rest of the riders, but he certainly seemed to be helping them and trying to catch Hermans. Anyway, Hermans stayed out, took a good win. Matthews second in the sprint, and Gilbert himself was third in the sprint. That sort of finish of a solo rider, we've seen it before, but not in that sort of context. In previous years here, we've had Gilbert winning from a bunch kick. We've had Sagan winning from a group of elite favourites. Him and Gilbert went out and soloed away. We've seen Vogler win solo. Every single year it seems to give us a different scenario, which makes for exciting racing. It makes for a good race to watch.
See, last year I thought Gilbert was the strongest, and it was pretty good. Like, you say he was teasing the rest. I thought he was just marking moves and just making sure that if anyone goes, he's going to be with him, and then in the end he wins. Like, last year BMC played that perfectly, and I recommend go finding the final 25 kilometers because it was really exciting to watch, and I know it will be this year as well. And it'll be live right here on Cycling TV tomorrow, or today if you're watching this on the Wednesday. The weather, though, I've had a look at the forecast. Rain. I love it. I hope we're going to get rain. It's like 60%, 70% I thought it was.
What was it? Because I checked the day before and it seemed to be okay.
50%. 50% according to weather.com, I think it is. Yeah, it's weather.com. 50% chance of a rainy day here in Belgium, which I hope. Because these races on cobbles and bergs, when it's raining, it just adds to the setting. You heard me talk about it time and time again. It's just so much better. It's so much better when it's raining and when the conditions are horrible for them. But, that's also kind of when the topic on rider safety is on there. Maybe something to discuss. But you find the same reports as I am?
No, I'm getting cloudy with breaks of sun.
You should find another weather forecast website. Yours is obviously wrong.
25% chance of rain, so it's going to be a nice day.
Let's hope not. So if it does rain, how does that affect the race?
I mentioned the downhills. They'll be a bit crazy. It increases the chances of a elimination race. It decreases the chances of a largest peloton. It makes it even better for a breakaway rider. I think off memory, the year Vogler won, it was bad weather. Yeah, I think that was the last time we had kind of bad weather here. So it certainly helps a breakaway rider if we get rainy weather.
It does. Let's move on to the start list. Actually, first of all, before we do that, I'd like to thank Ricky Kittel95 on Twitter, who actually made this awesome profile that he shared on Twitter through the Chrono Escalada stage profile editor, which is really well made, and I hope that you get to see these more in the future, because I really like the unified stage profiles. Like this feels like Tour de France to me. I like these profiles; they're very readable and approachable. The start list. Let's start with the man that's missing this year, Phil Gill. He had a crash recently, didn't he? Like a drunken driver?
Yeah.
I think I heard something.
I'm not sure if they hit him in the car or whatever, but certainly he broke his finger. So Big Phil's not here.
Yeah, and you don't want to ride with a broken finger. I think that's going to hurt, especially on the cobbles.
Yeah.
But no. BMC is still bringing a strong team. They have defending champion Ben Hermans.
They do. They've got you'd probably say a young team. They were very dominant in Limburg recently, where they just seemed to get every rider in the breakaway possible and then controlled the finish and set up the victory for, was it Gertz? Yeah, it was Gertz that won. So we have Hermans, Boli, Demarque, Dillier, Gertz, Seni, Toons and Vlegen, which, apart from Hermans and Demarque, they are young riders, but they are strong and they are talented, and BMC will be going attack, much like they did last year. Obviously, no Gilbert is a loss. It would be a loss for any team. It means that they cannot wait for a sprint. They will not win a sprint. It would be debatable if Gilbert would even beat Matthews this season, but BMC, no hanging around for a sprint. Let's just attack, and they've got plenty of options. Hermans can go long. Dillier, particularly strong rider, can go. Toons can go. Vlegen can go. Yeah, BMC are all set to blow this race apart.
I'm looking forward to that, because BMC, they're one of the few teams that can. Oh, what is my cat doing? He's jumping up, but no, it can actually get really good here when BMC gets it right, because as you mentioned, it's going to be really tough beating Matthews in a sprint here. I don't see any of these guys that could potentially beat him in a straight up sprint. BMC, which one of these would you put your money on? I'm sure you can get them at big odds right now.
Let's wait for the stars.
Well, you gotta keep the viewers' attention throughout the preview, but I guess we'll wait for the stars. So, Matthews, we already mentioned him. He's gotta come in as the main favorite. It's gonna be tough looking past him, but if it rains, a late attack could happen.
It's a nightmare race to hold together for a sprint. You know, I just round off the last 4 races. One of them was a bunch kick, and even saying that, it's an uphill sprint to finish. The last climb is actually to the finishing line, which is Chavet, which is 700 metres at 5.2%. So it's a real kind of uphill finish that suits Matthews and Cole, but it's almost impossible to hold the race together for a sprint. You know, to do it, you're going to have a lot of luck. Last year, Matthews was left alone inside the last 20k, which was very surprising. He had to cover attacks himself, and it was no surprise that BMC stayed out to take the victory. This season, he has a stronger team. He has Paris-Roubaix winner Matt Hayman, which he'll be on a high, or he might be recovering from a few beers. Jack Kay, Damien Howson, Daryl Impey. Everybody knows how much everybody loves Daryl Impey, especially a particular chemist in South Africa, Jens Kukelaer and Christian Meyer. So Orica are looking stronger than they have done maybe in previous years, but saying that, it's still going to be very, very difficult to hold the race together for Matthews. His big focus is obviously Amstel Gold on Sunday, and a potential showdown between him and his teammate Simon Gerrans, which we'll be all very happy to witness. It's going to be hard for him. I think Orica will try and be clever and put somebody in the break, or continue to put somebody in the break, in the break, in the break. They won't want to work all day. And their recent record of getting riders in the break or holding it together for a sprint coming off of Pevasco is not particularly good.
What's going to stop Matthews from doing a Sagan-esque ride of just going out and attacking the peloton and see if he can join these late attackers?
He could. Not much recent history of Matthews doing that before. However, if he sees that his team are weak, then that is the only option that will be left to him. And he kind of did that last season in that he covered a few attacks and he was looking to get into a small group. So I mentioned a couple of years back, Sagan won, where we had a small group of about 10 elite riders. Probably that would be Matthews' best opportunity to get in a strong break that stays away to the very end. But even then, it's going to be hard for him because he is clearly the fastest sprinter here and nobody will want to work for him.
I just get memories of flashbacks to Milano San Remo last year when Matthews was following up the Poggio, where he could actually follow the best of the best. So he's actually able to attack and try to play them a bit more risky, kind of like Sagan. And I'd like to see if he could do that here, because he is the main favorite in my book. Let's move on to another team. So there are so many equal teams here that there are no, like, usually we have a hierarchy where we go from the top and down, but I guess we'll move on to ethics, because last year, Julian Alaphilippe was the big sensation of these spring classics. How about this year?
I've said it before, they bumped him last season, over-raced. He was amazing, don't get me wrong, neo-pro season, and he goes and finishes 7th in Amstel, and you're thinking, that was strong, he helped Kwiatkowski going to win, and then he finished 2nd in Fletch. You're thinking that's phenomenal for such a young rider, and in the biggest of them all, he goes and finishes 2nd in Liège-Bastogne-Liège, which was simply incredible. He goes to Tour of California, he wins the mountain stage on Mount Baldy. He is just pipped for the overall by Sagan, but still it's an amazing performance. He has a little break, and then he comes back for the tail end of the season, and he is nowhere. His legs are gone. He was overworked in the early part of the season. He's out doing 300-kilometre training rides before Liège-Bastogne-Liège behind a motorbike. The type of thing that a Stijn Vandenberg does before the cobbled races. This season, he started 4 races. He's yet to finish a race yet. So I really hope that 2016 isn't a wasted season for him. Something just rings in my head. I had a conversation with Greg Henderson last season about young riders, in particular Tiesj Benoot, and he was saying that it's very, very easy to blow the legs off a young rider. The management need to be very careful in choosing what races they ride, even if the rider wants to do the races because they're in good form. The management has to be strong and say, enough is enough. I don't think Ethics got it right with Alaphilippe last season. I hope I'm wrong, because last season he was so good. But nothing that he's done so far this season would make you think that he's going to come good over the next 2 weeks.
You know you're having a poor season when you have finished less races than Carlos Betancourt. So, I mean, there's something there that you have to think about Julian Alaphilippe and Ethics Quickstep. But what about his teammate? Because early on today, Peter Vakoc actually tweeted that he's ready to ride the Brabantse Pijl because it's one of his favorite races. And if you look at his early season form, this guy was on fire.
He's a bull of a rider. He just seems to get bigger, stronger with the passing months. Another youngster who has come through the ranks at Ethics, and he is very, very strong. You mentioned his early season form. In France, he took both races on the same weekend, Sodac and Drôme Classic. He then finished 5th in Strade Bianche. He was very attacking last season, and I would expect to see him very attacking again here in this race. He is such a good rider, a huge star of the future, I would say. He has a very good chance of doing something in this race.
I'm hoping he's going to do a Ben Herman-esque attack. Tag on 20 kilometers to go, and this guy can do it. I think it was in Tour of Britain he did it, or was it Yorkshire, where he stayed away?
It was Britain, and before that, I'm sure in Tour of Poland, he won a long breakaway as well in his neo-pro season. He's just really, really strong.
Another rider that's really, really strong, but disappointed last week was Tony Galopin. What happened to him? He was contesting a few sprints, and then he just disappeared.
Seems to be a bit off form, does Galopin, which is not great news coming into the next 4 races. Thinking ahead, for Galopin, Liège-Bastogne-Liège would be his best chance of winning. It's the most prestigious of the Ardennes races. It's the only one that's the monument. I don't think he's that well suited to Amstel and to Fletch. I think it's all about Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Maybe he's just a week off of getting towards his form. Certainly last season he was a bit better in Pays Vasco. This season he was very disappointing. He wasn't the only one. Dan Martin was another who apparently got ill. So Galopin, he does come in here as co-captain, but they have some strong riders in the team too.
You look at that, you got Willems, Van den Dert, you got Tosh van der Sande, Pim Lichthart. I mean, Thomas de Gent for a long attack.
Galopin's going well. The stage through in Pays Vasco, he clearly had amazing legs. However, his willingness to attack the break eventually did it for him, and he cost himself probably the chance of a win. He is somebody who just loves to attack and attack and attack, and apparently does not listen very well to the management at Lotto, who tell him sometimes to ride it slower and be more careful. He is a rider who does what he wants and he does what he feels is right. So expect lots of Tim Wellens attacks. And unlike Galopin, I think for Wellens, Amstel Gold is his best race, his best chance of a success, which is only on Sunday. So Wellens will be on form right here, right now. So expect to see plenty of attacks from young Tim Wellens.
I'm looking forward to see what Lotto is going to do in this race. Going down, I'm looking at Sonny Colbrelli because we already talked about Limburg. If you saw the final search that he did in the last 50 meters, he put in a real dig to try and catch Floris Gertz near the end. He's on fire right now.
He was going okay. He was second in Lagoegla. He was first in Lugano, 9th in San Remo. He was disappointing in 3 days of the Pan. He really didn't get involved in any of the sprints. Second in Limburg, which was good. For fans of Italian cycling, you will know that Colbrelli can cope with the climbs in this race. There is nothing here which is going to shock him. It's just that he doesn't have the best record outside of Italy and nearby places like Switzerland. He doesn't seem to travel particularly well. Bardiani are not a team that usually do brilliantly in these types of races, but he was good in Limburg. If it's all together and we're hitting that final climb to the finish line and Colbrelli's there and he's at the front of the peloton, he is a man who could certainly finish on the podium.
See, another Italian rider that actually likes to travel a lot, who's been traveling for years, Davide Rebellin. He's done well the last 2 years. I mean, you can never count him out. Like, he's gonna grow older and older and grow better and better at the same time.
Good chance. He does like this race. There are quite a few riders who like this race, who have finished, say, top 10 in recent editions. Also on the team, you've got Simone Ponzi, who has a good uphill kick, but I think they'll probably be all in for Rebellin, another rider who has a solid chance of going. I mean, I would certainly bet money on him finishing top 10. He probably could finish top 7. He is unlikely to finish first, second, or third.
See, in the past, we've refused to speak his name out loud, but for this race, we'll do it because he will finish top 10, at least in my book. Continuing on the path of strong sprinters, Brian Coqueur. He had a horrific incident earlier this season, but before that, he was on fire. And he could contest Matthews in a straight-up sprint. Could.
Yeah, we all know how fast you think he is, so I'll be looking forward to seeing him in your star selection later on, Jesper.
He's actually not on there. He's an honourable mention, but he's not on there.
Good season so far, interrupted by injury, and then all of a sudden, bam, first race back, Dwaalsdorp-Vlaanderen second place. If you can cope with the hills in Dwaalsdorp-Vlaanderen, you should be able to do quite well here. He has a very fast uphill kick. Now looking at the final climb, 500 metres, it's about 4%, 500 metres. Coquard is made for that type of finish. He's small, he's light, he is explosive. If direct energy can get him in the right position, he surely has a good chance. If the racing is too fast, he will not be there at the end. It really just depends on the type of race we're going to get. They have options, like some of the other teams who arrive with a so-called sprinter. They have options to attack, and somebody will look after Coulthard, and if it comes back together at the end, they'll get him up for a sprint.
And he will. No, he won't be faster, but he will contest. It won't be like a 2 bike length victory for Matthews if Kakar is there. That's my opinion. He's definitely faster than Plucky, the discussion we had earlier this season. Moving on, who do you want to talk about next?
Do you know what? Seeing this race, there are so many so-called smaller riders, smaller teams who will contest, who will be up there because of the attacking nature. So that's one of the reasons I really like this race. If we want to talk about some of the so-called lesser riders, let's go to Top Sport Vlaanderen. One of many people's favourite teams. Last season, the conveyor belt of talent just continued to churn out rider after rider after rider. They managed to move 4 on last season to World Tour teams. Could be a little quiz question there for your viewers. What 4 riders left Top Sport Vlaanderen last season to go and ride World Tour? With 4 amazing riders leaving, there's obviously a hole there at Top Sport, and they always have riders who are willing to take that step up, who want to have a really good season, and then they want to be the next ones that go World Tour. So I'm looking at Floris de Tier, who Neopro last season. This season, you might remember him from Tour of Oman. He was 9th in the first stage. He was 9th on the Green Mountain. That's some serious racing for a youngster. He's continued that. He had some fairly solid results in between times, and he went well in Pays de la Loire. Recently, it's a stage that suits De Tier. I think he was about 20th last season here as well. Yeah, a local team will want to do well. He can attack. He can wait for the bunch kick. As I said, there's lots of smaller riders from smaller teams who could do something in this race, who could throw a surprise up.
Yeah, I'm just looking around to see if I can find similar riders. See, I don't have the same knowledge of these smaller teams because I don't have the time like you do to go research all that. I'm looking at Wanty Group Gobert because I saw the form that Gasparotto showed. What race was that recently when you finished 3rd? Was that Catalunya? Was that far back?
Yeah, it's Catalunya.
Because he was up there contesting, and he hasn't done that since the Astana days. And I like Enrico Gasparotto. He's got the fast kick. He's not as fast as Brian Kakar or Matthews, but he can attack. How do you think his chances are of doing well?
Not a fan. Put it that way. I'm not a fan of him and his Astana days. Maybe just leave that one there. I do like the look of the team though. We have Demi Clays, who we've mentioned previously. Oliver Mason said he had a 3rd lung, which I thought was a fantastic way of describing him. And then he goes and he rides top 10 in Flanders, which was outstanding. Who I do like in the wanted team is Gaetan Biel, number 244. Biel, who came from Verandas Willems last season. So again, for cycling geeks, real cycling fans, you will know Verandas Willems from Belgian races, from French races. He was on the books of Lotto Soudal a couple of years back. It didn't quite work out for him. Last season, he was 3rd in the Belgian Tour, which was an amazing result against some top riders because Van Avermaet and Benoit was 1st and 2nd. He was also going strong in Catalunya recently, and I think this is the type of race that suits him down to the ground. Like Top Sport, Wanty will be wanting to attack.
On the topic of your previous questions, which 4 riders from Top Sport moved on? I can tell you that good friend of the show, I am not very pro cycling, in the chat was the first one to guess it correctly. Good job, man. So, I'm looking at this, and we've yet to discuss Tom Dumoulin. Big name. Is he here to race or is he here to get kilometers?
Amstel Sunday, he should be here to race. Smaller team, they've only got 7 riders. It's not the strongest team you've ever seen in your life. They mentioned in the press release that he was in the middle of a training block, so they're unsure of how he's going to go. We've heard this before from Giant. Apparently, they're always unsure how Dumoulin's going to go. We're always going to take it day by day. So take that with a large pinch of salt. Dumoulin should be here to ride. Lacking in teammates, he will find it hard to contest, but on paper, this is ideally suited to him. He would probably like that final climb to be a bit steeper to get rid of the sprinters. It's short enough that a sprinter can, put in the power wattage required to go and win. So Dumoulin, I would expect to see him on the attack as he tries to test his legs before Sunday.
See, I've doubted Dumoulin so many times, I'm not even going to say a word on him. We'll just see how he goes tomorrow, and we'll leave it at that. We got 2 teams left that I want to talk, maybe 3 teams. I Am Cycling, Cannondale, and Dimension Data before we move on to our star selection. Which team do you want to start with?
Let's go with I Am Cycling. Tanner, who was really strong here last season, was just popped at the end, going strong. Pantano, good rider. Dries Devenine's always strong here, always around, but always in the last couple of seasons been around the top 10, top 15 riders. Another one who will look to animate the race. They've also got Oliver Zog for fans of cycling a couple of years back. You will remember him for some fairly big results in Lombardia. Interesting to see how they go. Always attacking. I hope to see Tanner up there. He was unfortunate last season just to lose the Wheel of Hermans with 3k to go. That would have annoyed him greatly, considering that Hermans eventually went on to win. So hopefully Tanner gets a chance to make amends for last season.
Moving on though. 2 teams left. Let's go with Dimension Data. Nathan Haas was strong down in Tour Down Under, but since then he's been kind of absent. But the last 2 years of this race he's done well. Does he have the speed and the form to compete with these great riders?
No.
Moving on. Cannondale. Tom Slakter. Ravenous Nevadauskas.
Slakter liked what I saw from him in Pay-Vasco. Now, he was riding for teammates. He rode for Simon Clark a couple of days, but he was looking good on the climbs. Strong rider for the Ardennes. He will be hitting form right here, right now. You mentioned Nevadauskas, who's just, he's another really, really hard man of the peloton who goes well. We probably like a bit of rain. Slakter is a very fast finish on an uphill kick. Not as fast as Matthews, but has to start the race as one of the big favourites.
Nevadauskas and the Tour de France stage that he won, that was rainy that day. He was out the entire day in the solo. It was just amazing to watch. Nevadauskas, you have to, it's really hard not to like this rider. He's so good, and I actually got a chance to talk to him when I was in Paris 2 years ago. Still a rider, still a man. Moving on, star section. But before we get there, I actually received some fan mail the other day. Thank you for the great support we got for Paris-Roubaix or live streaming it back in the team. And thank you very much, Rosemary, for this Out of Wayland shirt. I will hang it on my wall behind me. The appreciation token. David is kind of upset he didn't get anything, but sorry. When you're the face of the show, you get all the love. When you're the brain of the show, you get all the hate. I'm sorry, David. Star selection. One you've all been waiting for, as always. If you're watching the video, you probably just skipped here, and I'm telling you, shame on you. You should go back and watch the other 25 minutes. But the star selection, you go first, David.
Okay, so for my 1 star, I wanted to mix it up a bit, include some smaller riders because it is such an open attacking race. So that's what I'm doing. So here's one for the little guys. 1 star, Gaetan Biel, Lilian Almejan of Europcar or whatever they're called now, Direct Energy, and we will go Flores de Tia.
How do you spell that? The last name?
De Tia.
Oh, de Tia. Oh, you said it. It sounded French to me. No. Flores de Tia. I get it now. But see, you said you've gotten. That's a bit off the book for me. I've gotten.
Let's mention Calmajan because he's got a lot of big teams talking about him. Started the season extremely strongly, won a couple of 2.2 races last year, moved to Direct Energy. He's got a 2-year contract with them. He won the youth classification in Le Med. He was second in the youth classification in Haute Var. He was second in the youth classification in La Provence. This kid is good. I expect to see a lot more of him over the next couple of years.
See, I've set the skill level much higher for my 3-star list. 1 stars, Peter Vakoc, Tim Wellens, and Dries Devenets. One thing they all have in common, which has actually been a common theme for the last times we've done star selection, the 1-star riders are the riders that can attack away and stay away in those final 20 kilometers, kind of what Ben Herman said last year. Vakoc can do that, Tim Wellens can do that. He doesn't know what not to attack means, and he'll just attack. He hears on the radio, don't attack Tim Wellens. He says, oh wait, you said attack? Okay, goes off the front. and Dries Devenants. In 15, 14, and 13, he was 10th, and like 9th. It's about time he steps up in the overall GC or in the top 10 rankings and gets maybe a top 5. He'd be a worthy one-star shot for me. 2 stars.
2 stars. Hermans, Velens, Schlachter.
Hermans. I heard he was sick. You still like him at 2 stars?
I'll keep him in at 2 stars. To be honest, BMC, you need to have a BMC rider at 3 stars. You need to have a BMC rider at 2 stars as well. They have a strong attacking team. So I'll keep him in there. Velens, 2 stars because he is such an attacking rider and has good form just now. Schlachter, 2 stars because he would have to get rid of Matthews, and I'm not sure he's going to attack out the peloton and be able to do that.
So you say you need a BMC rider on your team. I feel like it's a tombola and you put your hand in there and you just have to hope you get the right number. So therefore, I've left them all out. I do not have a single BMC rider on here because I feel like it's a lottery. And it's really, really hard to predict which one's going to do right. It's much easier just to say none of them will do good, which is also very likely looking at this race and how it's going to pan out. I'm playing the odds.
They won it 2 years on the bounce.
Yeah, but Hermans is sick and Phil Gill is not here. Those are the 2 main guys the last few years. Definitely Phil Gill. He's done really good. 2-star riders. Enrico Gasparotto. I love this guy. I really do adore him. Nathan Haas. 6th last year. 8th the year before that. He is fast. He'll be there. He's got the support of Dimension Data. Don't see why you don't like him. And then Sonny Colbrelli. This guy is really, really fast. I know he struggles outside of Italy. But at some point, they got to get him. Right? You can't always mess it up. You're not Etix.
I like Colbrelli. I've interviewed Colbrelli. Good guy.
How's the language barrier? I know Italians don't really speak English.
Oh, I'm fluent in every language in the world.
Oh, even bullshit. Let's move on to 3 stars.
Okay, 3 stars. Matthews, Vakoc, and my BMC rider of choice, Dylan Teuns.
I like Dylan Teuns. Talk about why he's your 3-star rider and not Hermans.
Because he is amazing and he is the real deal. He was taken out of the limelight somewhat last season because a certain young Belgian who we've had on this show was utterly amazing, which would have hurt him a little bit. You know, these young riders are proud. He moved to BMC. You don't get opportunities at BMC. You're riding for Gilbert, you're riding for Van Avermaet, you're riding for Hermans. You don't get chances in your first season. You've got to wait, you've got to be patient. He's been that. His early season was disrupted by injury. He's now back to full fitness and form. Without Gilbert, if Hermans is potentially ill, Teuns is going to move up the ladder, and let's go back about a year and a half to Tour of Britain as a stagiaire where he was flying beside Kwiatkowski and co. You know, he is the real deal. And I'm just waiting for him to explode onto the scene.
I think he won everybody's hearts that race, because it was just amazing to see a stagiaire being able to follow the best of the best with such ease and on a team like BMC. I really hope that Dylan Teuns goes well. He's just not my lottery pick for this race. Michael Matthews gotta be on there. Davide Rebellin. This man has been impressive all season. I think he's 38 years old. We saw him in Tour of Dubai up the Haddam. This guy is on fire.
He's 44 or something.
So we're going in the middle and say 42. I think it was 41. I'm not a math teacher. But see, David Rebellin, it's got to be 3 stars. This guy is... If you have a fantasy team out there, just put him at 3 stars. That's enough explanation right there. Tony Gallopin at 3 stars. He's got to show up about time. And he was kind of getting ready in País Vasco, and this must be the explanation that he was just holding something back for this week to come now. And he is really, really fast. We've all seen what he can do. He needs to attack, though, to be able to outsprint a guy like Matthew. Who do you have as the winner of this?
Dylan Teuns.
Caught me by surprise. That's 2 previews in a row. You had Bowden last time, and now Dylan Teuns. Why Dylan Teuns over Matthews?
Too hard for Orica to hold it together. We will have a small group of riders contesting the finish. BMC will be more than happy if Teuns is in there because he's probably just about their fastest on that uphill finish, although Sylvain Dillier is another who is very, very strong. Teuns is quick, really quick, and I just see BMC winning it again. 3 years on the bounce. They love this race.
You want to know the impact you have on the odds? 2 minutes ago, this is news by the chat. Two minutes ago, Dylan turns for 34 to 1. He's now 19 to 1 since you've made the 3-star selection of Dylan Turns. So, congratulations, David. You have quite the impact. See, I'm going to go with. Oh, sorry?
I certainly do.
3 stars. You have 3 guys up here. Only one of them can win. Michael Matthews. I'm going with the most boring pick for the 5th preview in a row. And at some point, now we're playing the odds. It's going to come true. Michael Matthews, the strongest rider here. Ethics just coming off the euphoria of winning Paris-Roubaix. They're going to come in and they're going to want to win this. Michael Matthews is the best rider of his generation. You even said it yourself. He's even the best rider by a mile. Like, I compare him to Terpstra at La Semien in this race. I can't see a rider that can compare to him of caliber. So you got to have him as your main favorite. On that note, guys, or at least do you have any finishing notes for this race?
No, it's just a great race. More people should watch it. More people should get involved. I see a lot of people saying the Ardennes is boring. I get that. I understand that. Amstel is usually about the final lap, and sometimes it's just about the Coburg last time up. Fletch is certainly just about the last kind of 10 kilometres now that they've added in the new penultimate climb. Liège-Bastogne-Liège is really the race that everybody wants to watch. It gets more exciting from outside, but this is a race for, let's say, proper cycling fans. You get to see all the riders just attack. So wherever you are, watch it tomorrow.
It doesn't help, though, that it's only on Sportsa. Or at least I think it is. I don't think Eurosport is covering this race, so it's tough for the real fans, not the real fans, the not-so-real fans to follow the race because they can't see it on their television. But it's good there's other places to watch races like those. But thank you guys for watching. It's been one hell of a preview. Next set of previews, we have some brilliant guests, so see you guys then.